Glee Season 2. Well, talk about a bipolar season because the first half, or 60% of this season, was great. I was loving all the little subplots that they were including in there, doing things with supporting characters from last season, such as Santana and Brittany, and bringing them more forward, continuing the dynamics of all of the main characters, except arguably Puck, but he does get a bit of a storyline in the other portion of this season, advancing Will and Emma's relationship, continuing the dynamic of everyone versus Sue, bringing in Beast, who isn't completely likable at the beginning, but they give her stuff to do. Oh, that was great! I was loving all that stuff. And then we get into the second half, or like the back 9-ish episodes, and then everybody on the student side then starts making the same mistakes that they did last season, or wrinkles or little plot things are just thrown into the season and then resolved after an episode or an episode and a half. And it was like, what? Even when the season ended, it was just like, oh, okay, that happened. Just, there was no weight to it at the end. And just, what the heck? Guys, how did you do so well for a good while and then you just fall flat on it? It was just, oh man. Now, that's not to say that the last 9 or so episodes of this season were all bad, okay? Because again, Puck ended up getting something to do besides just throwing around one-liners about, womanizing people, and it does explain a dynamic for how you get to the Lauren character to come into the season and have somebody replace Kurt, because the introduction of Sam to replace Matt, it was kind of sudden, and I hate that it was Mr. Shu who talked him into joining off screen, but there wasn't that much to the character of Matt anyway, so bringing him in there, it makes sense. And then, well, again, Kurt leaving, that's a big hole. You got to get somebody in there somehow, but it's more appropriate to have the new character not get along with a lot of people in Glee in order to make us want Kurt to come back to McKinley from Dalton, despite on paper him having everything that he wants from the new group. But yeah, there wasn't that much to his character, unfortunately, but given how he's, a womanizer, and how so much of his plot was tied into Quinn's baby, it makes sense that they weren't able to do much with him and then just have him be the friend or supporting character as he is in a lot of fan fiction. Okay, I'll give them that. Then, to anyone who kind of feels like the bit of Santana developing feelings for Brittany coming out of nowhere, no, actually, it's very realistic to, be around somebody for so long, and then all of a sudden one day you basically just wake up and go, holy crap, I like this person, huh? Both of my real life crushes, okay? I had known them for years before I realized, holy crap, I have a crush on these two. Like, when I learned that I had a crush on the second one, I was like, oh god, this is not good. But also, if you've watched Buffy Season 2, it's the same thing. Except no one was complaining about it there, were we? No, we weren't. So yeah, this is actually very realistic. The only potential problem that I've got with it is that if we take a couple of lines where Satana is going closet lesbian, how are you a closet lesbian, okay? You just realized that you had stronger feelings for Brittany. That doesn't make you a closet lesbian. That just makes you realize that you might have romantic feelings for somebody that isn't a guy. Yeah. Like, I'm trying really hard to not talk about a couple of things about this show that I know. If you're wondering why this seems false, it's because it is. That's the issue with Santana in this season, okay? Right, and thought there was one other bit about the back end that I actually was a fan of. Well, okay, I'll talk about the quick resolution when it comes to Nationals, okay? On its own, it isn't a bad thing, because all throughout Season 1, the message was, you have to place at regionals. You don't have to win. And Nationals bid isn't even in the equation. You just have to place. Well, they did that. And then they go to Nationals, give a strong showing, which Finn Shulk ruins. But given how they weren't really showing that much of the other show choirs, it just goes to show that they weren't putting that much effort into Nationals. It was just, okay, they got to Nationals, so now we actually have to do something here. Nationals was just a backdrop. Up. And also, given how this show, everyone is supposed to age realistically with no characters, even though all the students are several years older than the characters that they're playing, since a lot of them are going to be seniors in the next season, and everyone knew that there was going to be a third season, I can't totally blame them for just including that and then having that end, but it's because it was added to all the other things that I thought that they were doing wrong. That's just how it looks bad. It's like how Force Awakens on its own, a perfectly fine movie, when you look at it in the confines of the trilogy, it sucks. Because none of its questions got answered. Right. Okay. And also the, actually, wait a minute, I can't remember what episode that was, so I'm not going to say what I was about to say. But the real problem, as I mentioned, was all of the people making the same mistakes from the first season, especially Finn, because, like, dude, okay, yes, what Rachel did was wrong, but one, she admitted it, and as the flashback shows to us, it was just barely followed through before Puck, of all people, bailed on the situation. Yeah. So I can completely understand him not being happy with Rachel, wanting to put some distance, but then you all of a sudden just go, oh, hey, quit. And you just showed up here, you know what? Why don't I give this another shot? As if he's completely forgotten as to why the relationship failed in the previous season. And then Quinn just kisses him, and then all of a sudden she's trying to use Finn, just like how she was last season, and how arguably she was using Sam this season, because there was chemistry there. There was, but even when he's about to kiss her, she backs off, but it isn't because of fear of commitment. No, that is not Quinn. If it was fear of commitment, pardon me, she would follow through with it, but she's busy focusing on her status. Again, and it's just like, what the heck? You know, like, why are these two doing so many bad situations like this? Yeah, Finn was the bad guy initially, then Quinn sinks to pretty much the same level as he was, and then she's surprised when Finn breaks up with her. Like, how are you surprised by that? And, and I'm not trying to say that one of them is better than the other in this equation. They both sucked. Yeah, Finn started it first. Quinn got down just as bad, and then she's going at the end, somebody to love me. Well, you know, if you hadn't been stringing people along, you would have gotten someplace with it, even though I think a little bit of this dynamic with Quinn's behavior is because, one, I really like Diana as an actress, and I know for a fact that because Diana brought the character into a way that made a lot of people root for her, despite knowing that you shouldn't, Ryan Murphy just couldn't figure out how to do the character, but you know? And then a lot of the other romance bits, like Tina and Mike. Unfortunately, even though Mike had more to do with this season, the fact that he didn't play into the relationship dynamic that much, and it's more about Audie's heartache, makes it seem like, why are you bothering with this? And then what he does with Brittany, well, yes, he shouldn't have done that, but at the same time, I can't entirely blame him. Because unfortunately, Brittany's airiness in this season, now that she's coming more forward, hurts the character. So adding that in makes the Finn and Quinn dynamic even more annoying to us, because it isn't just them. It's everybody. And then Rachel. Talk about Rachel's behavior not making sense this season, because, okay. Her trying to initiate that bid with Puck as a way to get back at Finn. Impulsive, wrongly executed. It happens. But then you notice that even when she's trying to get back with Finn, she actually, after a little bit, starts taking a back seat, then tries to help him out. Such as, suggesting, here's a gift that you can give for Quinn. But it's like, wait. How is it that not only are you helping your ex get back with his ex, you have the idea of, like, the perfect thing to do for your arch nemesis? What? And the way that she's talking about it, you can tell that this isn't her going, oh, if I was Finn, what would I do? No. What? You do not come up with something that perfect. Okay? It just so that shows that her train of thought was more focused on Quinn than Finn. What the hell is up with that? And when the shoe falls on this whole relationship dynamic, just like with last season when Quinn's baby bitch came out, instead of Rachel going after the person that she wants to be with at the time, Finn, or the person that she was with, Puck in season 1, even though that's technically not true, and Jesse this season, she goes after Quinn! What? Quinn is the last person in that whole dynamic that you're supposed to be going after, and yet you want to help Quinn? And once again, it has nothing to do with Glee. This is Rachel focusing on Quinn, and this doesn't make any sense. Why is Rachel putting more effort into trying to mend things with Quinn and having more serious discussions with Quinn about situations than anybody else? Even Mr. Shu! What is it with these two? This doesn't make any sense. Why are they more interested in each other than anyone else? And it's not because, just because Quinn is with the person that Rachel wants to be with. No. You're supposed to be focusing more on Finn. She focuses on Quinn. And then on the other side of that dynamic, Quinn instituting that plot to become Rachel's new bestie, even though it doesn't follow through that much. But again, she confesses things to Rachel, the last person that should be confessing these things to after her mother, Mr. Shu, Finn, or Sam, Santana. Even though Santana would just throw it in her face, let's be real. Huh? Oh, I forgot about Mercedes. So Mercedes goes between Mr. Shu and Finn. But what is it with this? None of this makes any sense. And, no, okay, I will admit in this season, the potential idea of Quinn being gay doesn't really explain anything. It helps explain things in the first season, but the first half of this season, but then when I interject it into the second half of the season, it just makes it even more confusing. So to the naysayers of, Quinn being gay help explaining her behavior. In this season, you've got some credibility to you. Don't get me wrong, but what is it with these two? It just doesn't make any sense. Ay. So you see what I'm getting at? With this being a bipolar season? it has a lot of good things and it has a lot of bad things. Again, I like this show, and yet I can't decide if I really want to appreciate the show or then just tear my hair out what hair I've got left. And no, I'm not trying to fool anybody, okay? I assure you I'm not. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I've been repeating myself for a couple of minutes now, and this video is about as long as my Season 1 video. Time to end this, and then hop into, next season. Oh, whoa, sorry, I forgot. I gotta talk about the concert movie first. Right, so that'll be the next one. See ya! Oh, and, if I didn't discuss something that you wanted to hear about, just put it down below, and I'll try my best to answer it.